Good afternoon, Your Honor. My name is Holly Waterston, and Maddie is my stepsister through my mom, Kathy Kingsbury's marriage to Dave Kingsbury. I am here today to talk about the impact Maddie's disappearance, murder, and subsequent trial has had not only on me, but especially on the children of our family. It is impossible to describe all the pieces, infinite and complex, that make up our losses. We all now live on a shattered timeline of life. There was a giant fissure, a crack, on March 31st, 2023. Our lives will forever be defined in terms of before Maddie went missing and after. None of us will ever be the same people we were before this horrific nightmare started. Maddie was a deeply caring and thoughtful sister. She not only welcomed me with open arms to my family, but also had a special bond with my biological sister, Heather. After a lifelong battle with a rare autoimmune disease, Heather lost her life to leukemia. Her funeral was on June 7th, 2012, where Maddie shared a beautiful and compassionate poem she wrote to honor Heather. Exactly 11 years later, on June 7th, 2023, Maddie's body was found. Two of my sisters dead. The sorrow I feel is massive and often too much to bear. I miss both Heather and Maddie equally. Their deaths have left equal-sized holes in my heart. However, there is a profound difference in the layers of suffering, anguish, and trauma between when a sister dies of a disease and when a sister goes missing for over 2 months, is found violently murdered, and then having to uphold her dignity during an arduous journey to justice. Maddie was an amazing aunt to my 3 daughters and to my other stepsister Katya's 2 young children. To no one's surprise, Maddie was often at the center of this cousin crew, being the energetic, fun, creative mom and aunt that we all knew her to be. I miss my conversations with Maddie about navigating the intertwining joys and struggles of raising our little humans. Maddie brought an enormous amount of light and laughter to our lives. Backyard games, pool parties at Grandpa and Gagi's house, and family celebrations will never be the same. Throughout the course of the trial, we heard a lot about Adam's cloak of innocence. Today, on this day of sentencing, I ask the court to reflect on what Adam's actions have done to the children in our family. The children in our family don't get to walk through their young lives shrouded in a cloak of childhood innocence anymore. It was ripped from each of their tiny shoulders, stomped on, shredded, destroyed. My youngest twin daughter talks a lot about missing Maddie, how it's not fair Maddie was killed, and how Maddie didn't deserve what happened to her. One of the most difficult questions she asks is, why would Adam do this to someone he had kids with and said he loved? It is this question and its answer that gets to the heart of the most insidious, secret truth within our society: domestic abuse and violence. It is a question I agonize over, and it is one that keeps me awake at night. My middle daughter, my youngest twin, had an immensely difficult time during the trial. She was often in tears, asking me things like, why did Adam do this? Why did he kill Maddie? Why didn't he tell people he did this so people didn't have to search for her? Why doesn't he tell people now so everyone doesn't have to be at the trial? The question of why remains for us all. It is a simple word with an endless ability to cut at our hearts, because it has no answer that will ever be sufficient. My youngest daughter always wants to know, how was Maddie killed? She is not satisfied with an answer of, Adam made Maddie stop breathing. She wants to know exactly how. She wants the details. There's no room for the gray space within my answers to her questions. She also repeatedly asks, is Adam still in jail? The underlying, unspoken questions here, of course, are, am I safe? Can it happen to me? During one of our cousin's sleepovers, my youngest daughter and Maddie's son Noah came into my room, both of their little faces streaked with tears. My youngest daughter told me through her sobs, Noah woke me up. He is crying and asking for his mommy. As a parent of young children, I am no stranger to middle-of-the-night wake-ups or kids being scared or worried. I am supposed to simply be able to explain that monsters aren't real, that they don't live under our beds or in our homes. I am supposed to be able to add another nightlight, maybe make some homemade monster spray, and hug their fears away as they drift off to sleep, forgetting their nightmare by daybreak. Nothing prepared me to try to comfort my nephew, who will never again be able to see, hear, or hug his mommy, because there is, in fact, a real-life monster who killed his mommy. I feel it is a nightmare that little Noah may never be able to escape, because the reality for him is that this monster and his father are one and the same. With young children involved, we don't have the privilege of pretending that the darkest and most difficult days are behind us. The generational trauma will likely be repeated in waves throughout the years, as each child eventually learns and struggles to process the entirety of the horrific truth and the gruesome details behind Maddie's disappearance and brutal murder. For me, the emotional burden I carry weighs heavily on my heart. I often robotically and mechanically go through the routine of life, searching for a sense of normalcy. I've been left with an inability to truly accept joy. I am often flooded with a feeling of triviality that seeps into the far reaches of my existence. My support system is largely comprised of friends and family who have also been deeply impacted. Previously sturdy core relationships and dynamics have been innately changed. This is especially true with my mom, who is now raising children younger than my own, and who no longer has the ability or capacity to be there for me or my kids in the same way she was before March 31st, 2023. I grieve for the connection, closeness, and memories that have been lost or never made. I haven't yet figured out how to incorporate this tragedy into my everyday life, even though I know I must. There are days when there are glimmers of hope, days when I can walk gracefully, holding hands with both my grief and my gratitude. However, there are many days where I stumble, and there are roadblocks I must continue to face. Even simply driving my kids to school can be triggering. On one road, there is culvert after culvert after culvert. Immediately, all I can see in my mind are flashbacks of Maddie's short, brown curly hair poking out of the top of the fitted sheet. Flashbacks of multiple law enforcement officers pulling Maddie out of the culvert where she was inhumanely stuffed and hidden. Flashbacks to the towel, tied, slip-knotted, extremely tightly around her face. I try in vain to forget the surreal feeling I had as I watched the horrific video unfold in the courtroom. It was as though my body had separated from itself. I attempt to hold back the feelings of devastation I had the day Maddie was found. I cannot help but feel heartbroken about how scared and desperate Maddie must have been in her final moments of life. Those images, those feelings, that knowledge, they are not anything I will ever forget. As painful as it all is, they are also not something that should ever be forgotten. Adam needs to be held accountable. Adam's actions were disgusting, sickening, and particularly cruel. On the morning of March 31st, 2023, Adam seemingly felt entitled to unilaterally impart a death sentence on Maddie. Simultaneously, Adam gave each of us a life sentence as well. There's no parole for any of us to be released from this nightmare. This is forever our unthinkable reality. I am asking, pleading with the court today to follow through with mandatory and maximum sentencing for Adam. Life in prison with no possibility of parole. Thank you, Your Honor.